Welcome back to my EY class. Last week, we have discussed about how to calculate annualized rate of return, especially for the calculation of the rate of return for MPF, the mandatory provident fund. So this time, let's show you how to estimate the annualized rate of return, either by provide the formula or calculator, and also I would demonstrate how to use Excel files to calculate annualized rate of return by ourselves. First of all, right, there are many home pages which will define what is annualized rate of return. For example, here CFI's homepage. Let's scroll down, and there's a formula for annualized rate of return. And here shows you that annualized rate of return is a assumed fixed rate of return per annum, referring to a long-term investment. Say, for example, right, 20 years ago, we have invested the initial value of investment, and then 20 years later, we got the final value of investment. Then how can we find a annualized rate of return, which is assumed to be a fixed rate of return in compound interest, that it will achieve this final value of investment? So this is the formula which provided for the calculation, but of course it is not relevant for the purpose of estimating annualized rate of return for MPF, because it assumed that there was a lump sum initial value of investment. But anyway, I would show you how this formula can be used and why it's not applicable for our MPF purpose. Okay, here is the Excel file, right? I extract the formulas here. Let me show you how it is used. Say, for example, if the initial value of investment is $240,000, and then the final value of investment will be $1 million in 20 years time, then of course, right, the cumulative rate of return, which would be very straightforward, simply deducting, right, the initial value of investment by the final value of investment, and divided by the initial value of investment. Then 317% return can be calculated. But if we are asking then each year, what would be the annualized rate of return, right, in compound interest, which will be equivalent to this 317% in 20 years time. So applying this formula, we simply divide final value of investment by initial value of investment to the power 1 over 20, right, and then minus 1, right, which will provide the answer 7.4%, the annualized rate of return. Yeah, so you can try other figures by yourself. Yeah, but this formula, right, is very limited, because it is only applicable for a lump sum initial value of investment. But in MPF, very often we will contribute by month. So then how can we estimate this kind of monthly or yearly contribution of investment? Then let me show you two ways. The first one is to make use of some provided calculators online, and then after that I will show you how we can calculate annualize the rate of return by a DCF model in an Excel. So yeah, here is a calculator provided by Bank Plus, which is more versatile, right? It allowed us to input all the parameters, including the start date, end date, and then the initial deposit amount, future value, periodic deposit or withdrawal, deposit frequency, and whether the deposit is at the beginning of each period or not. Okay, so in this example, I put in 2001 as the start year, and then 2021 as the end year. So it is a 20-year covered period as shown in the calculator. And then the initial amount is 0. And then if we expect to have 1 million after 20 years, that's the future value, and we contribute $1,000 periodically, and we collect monthly. That means we contribute by month, and then we collect this deposit at the beginning, which will calculate every month as so the original would be 0, and then after 20 years would be 1 million. Every month we contribute $1,000, and then let's click calculate, and it will immediately provide you the annualized rate of return as 12.69%. Now let's say, for example, if we change the future value to say $800,000, then everything, every other's parameter is the same. Yeah, and then we can recalculate the annualized rate of return. It immediately shows you, which is 10.839%. So it's very user friendly, and it allows periodic deposit or withdrawal, which you can define by yourself. Okay, so you can try using this calculator, especially for long-term MPF investment. Okay, and then the next demonstration is trying to use Excel to work out the annualized rate of return. Here, you will find that I am going to use the to use the what if goal seek function, which can allow you to ask a what if question. So here is a kind of DCF model. So this row I put in 20 year, from year 1, year 2, year 3 to year 20, and then the second row is the principal, as it is a periodic deposit. Every year we contribute $12,000 because $1,000 per month. But of course, this is a simplified version. Strictly speaking, we should put 240 columns. Each column represents a month. But to simplify the demonstration, so I simply put 20 columns, and each column represents 1 year. And so it's not perfectly correct, but because I do not want to complicate the issue with 240 columns, so I make it a simplified version. And so $1,000 per month, assuming that it is equivalent to a $12,000 contribution in the beginning of each year. Okay, then this next row, is the sum of the principal and interest of each period. So it is a little bit complicated. Let me explain in more detail. So this cell, can be calculated by the period sum plus this year's new contribution, close bracket, times open bracket 1 plus the annualized rate of return. But of course, at this moment, we do not know the annualized rate of return, so we can enter a rough rate of return, say 10%, right? And then after that, we can use a what if function to find out the exact annualized rate of return, okay? So now let me change this cell to a simple version. Let's say we enter 10%, make it very simple. So because of a 10% annual rate of return, so in year one, $12,000 contribution. So with 10%, the interest would be 1,200, right? Then the principal plus interest would be 13,200. So year two would be 13,200 plus $12,000 this year's contribution. That means 25,200 principal. Then times 1 plus 10%. Right, which is equivalent to 27,720. So copy and paste all the formula, and then by means of 10%, then it tells you that after 20 years, right, the MPF will accumulate to 756,000 something, which is less than 1 million. So then let me show you how to use the what if go seek function, right, to ask what should be the annualized rate of return if this investment would achieve a 1 million final amount in 20 years time. Okay, yep. So this cell, right, in year 20, we would like to use a go seek function. So click the data and then what if analysis, and then in what if analysis, right, is to ask a what if question. Then we click the second one is go seek, right? Then there are only three parameters. The first one, which cell you want to set. So we would like to set this amount in year 20, and the amount is 1 million. Yeah. So we enter 1 million here, and then which cells to adjust. So we click this annualized rate of return. Okay. Then right after entering these three parameters, yeah, then click OK. Then you will estimate and tell you, oh, the annualized rate of return is about 12.3%, which is quite close to what we use the calculators, right, in Bank Plus. Of course, they are not exactly the same because this demonstration use a simplified version, assuming a yearly contribution, but the calculators, right, is a 240 monthly columns model. Okay, so by means of these three demonstrations, you'll find that the formula provided in many websites does not apply in MPF situation, because we have a monthly contribution, and then the calculator is very user friendly, but still, right, it does not allow minor changes in every year. So by means of this Excel DCF model and using what if go seek function, then you can change anything you like, and you can change to different situation. So this is the end. Thank you.